Sometimes the world forgets to care. Sometimes life breaks the innocent. Sometimes the smallest hearts carry the heaviest pain. But today we witness 7 miracles, 7 moments where compassion defeated fear, 7 times when kindness rewrote destiny, because even when the world is dark, one act of love can become the light. We'll see a scared dog who found a warm home, an elephant who learned to stand tall again, and a tiny bird given a second chance to fly. These aren't just stories. They're proof that a little bit of help can change everything. Prepare to have your heart warmed as we share these incredible journeys from despair to hope. Stay with us to see how love truly saves lives. In a remote corner of the world, during a heavy monsoon night, a landslide crushed a small wooden shelter. The villagers heard it collapse, but they also heard something else. A faint whimper, fragile, weak, barely alive beneath the earth. They rushed into the storm without equipment, just their bare hands, because sometimes the heart moves faster than logic. Every second mattered. The rain was crashing down. The villagers dug through wet soil, calling out, hoping for a sound, and then a faint cry, a puppy, trapped buried under layers of earth. His body was motionless, only his mouth opened, struggling for air. Hope was suffocating, but it wasn't ready to die. Ignoring the cold, they dug faster. Finally, a tiny head emerged, covered in mud, breathing. They wrapped him gently in a cloth and held him close. When the storm stopped, the sun broke through and the puppy opened his eyes. Sometimes hope is buried, but it only takes someone to dig it back out. Elephants are symbols of strength, but even the mightiest giants can fall. This one, weak and exhausted, was left behind by her herd, not because they didn't care, but because nature demanded they keep moving. Survival meant migration, but her legs simply refused to obey. She collapsed. Hours passed under the scorching sun. Her skin burned, her breathing grew faint. Most animals left behind simply close their eyes and wait. But then humans arrived, not professionals, just villagers who couldn't bear to watch a life fade away. With ropes, water, and fruit, they weren't just trying to lift a body. They were trying to lift a soul. With every pull and every gentle whisper, they gave her a reason to fight. Finally, she wanted to live. With one last collective push, she rose, shaking but alive. Sometimes true strength isn't about never falling, it's about having the courage to rise again. Winter's beauty can be deceiving. A serene frozen lake hides a deadly secret beneath its surface, thin ice, ready to claim any who dare to cross. One young deer took that chance. She slipped, and the biting cold froze not just her body, but her spirit. She was trapped, alone. Then 2 strangers saw her. They had no special gear, no rescue training, just a shared sense of courage. They lay flat on their stomachs, inching across the cracking ice, knowing that a single wrong move could be disastrous. The wind howled, their hands were numb, but they didn't stop. They finally reached her, her eyes filled with a mixture of terror and trust. Gently, they secured a rope around her. "It's okay," one whispered. With slow, careful pulls, they began the painstaking journey back. Finally, her hooves touched solid ground. She stood, gave them one last knowing look, and disappeared into the woods. Motherhood has no language, no species, no boundaries. She was starving, weak, and yet she still searched for scraps, not for herself, but for her babies. Her newborn kittens were hidden under a pile of trash in a dark, rainy alley. The trash was their blanket, their only shelter. She guarded them with her fragile body, even though her own stomach was empty. A mother's love chooses hunger over comfort. When our rescue team arrived, we slowly removed the trash, piece by piece, trying not to scare her. Her body trembled, not from the cold, but from the fear of losing her babies. As the final bag was lifted, tiny kittens appeared, their eyes still closed. They were barely moving, but alive. We offered her food, warm blankets, and safety. The mother cat finally closed her eyes, not from exhaustion, but from peace. A mother's love speaks every language. Even when the world gives her trash, she gives her babies hope. When the floodwaters rose, they swallowed everything: streets, homes, and hope. A dog, terrified, clung to a piece of floating debris, his desperate barks lost in the roar of the water. Many people watched from a safe distance, paralyzed by fear. The current was just too strong, But then one person jumped in, no hesitation. He swam against the raging torrent, using only one arm to fight his way forward. With his other arm, he cradled the frightened animal, protecting it from the waves. When love pulls harder than fear, miracles happen. He reached a rescue boat, collapsing from exhaustion. The dog, safe at last, didn't run. Instead, he pressed his head against his rescuer's chest, trembling not with fear, but with gratitude. Sometimes the greatest compassion comes from the smallest hands. Look at this little bird trembling with its wing broken. So many people might have just walked past, but this young boy, he stopped. He saw a life that needed help. Gently, he scooped the bird up, holding it in his hands like it was the most precious secret in the world. Back home, he built a tiny nest from a cardboard box, lining it with soft cotton to make it safe and warm. With so much care, he fed the bird water, one single drop at a time. Days turned into a week, and then a little miracle. The bird stood up. Healing always takes time, but love and patience make all the difference. Finally, the day came. The boy opened his hands. The bird spread its wings, strong and whole again, and soared into the sky. In saving this tiny creature, the boy found a part of himself too. On a lonely stretch of road, an old dog lies on the shoulder, his body too tired to move another inch. One car after another speeds past, each one a blur of indifference. It seems the world has forgotten him. Age can be cruel, stealing strength and leaving you behind. But then, a flicker of hope. One car slows down, and its brake lights paint the pavement red. A woman gets out. Just then, the sky opens up, and a gentle rain begins to fall. She doesn't hesitate. She takes off her jacket and wraps it around the old dog's frail body. Her arms become his shield, his shelter from the storm and the uncaring world. He's lifted into the warmth of her car, and for the first time in what must feel like a lifetime, he can finally rest. At her home, he's given a soft bed and a warm meal. He's no longer a forgotten soul on the side of the road. He has a name, and he has comfort. She spends the next few days by his side, whispering soft words, gently stroking his gray fur. He sleeps peacefully, without fear, knowing he is safe. A few days later, in the quiet comfort of his new home, the old dog closes his eyes for the last time. He isn't alone on a cold roadside. He isn't scared or abandoned. He is surrounded by warmth, and he is deeply, truly loved. His final moments are filled with the peace he always deserved. We know we can't change the world for every animal out there. The task is just too big. But for this one old dog, for this one precious life, we changed his entire world. Animals might not speak our language, but their hearts feel everything we do. They feel pain, they feel fear, and most importantly, they feel love. Let's always choose kindness. It can make all the difference. Thank you for watching.